We all have this picture in our heads of what a clean energy future looks like, right? We're talking gleaming solar cities, whisper quiet electric cars zipping down every highway, those massive wind turbines spinning on the horizon. It's a pretty amazing vision. And the best part, this isn't some far-off sci-fi dream. This is the future we're actually trying to build, like right now.
And a huge piece of this puzzle is the push for brand new solutions. I mean, we're seeing absolutely explosive growth in areas like green hydrogen. This stuff promises to clean up the really tough parts of our economy, the ones that electricity just can't quite handle on its own. It feels like the momentum is just unstoppable. But what if there's a catch?
Well, here's the thing. This is the paradox at the very heart of this green dream. To build all that amazing stuff, every single solar panel, every wind turbine, every battery, we need a ton of raw materials. And what if our mad dash to dig all that stuff up actually creates a new crisis, one that might be just as big as the fossil fuel problem we're trying to solve in the first place? And that right there is what we're calling the clean energy paradox. We are heading straight for a massive mineral crunch. It's this hidden challenge that could honestly bring our entire transition to a screeching halt. Okay, so the challenge sounds simple, but the scale is just mind-boggling. Think about it. Every single solar panel, every wind turbine, every EV battery, they all need a very specific menu of minerals to work. And the problem is our demand for these ingredients is just exploding. It's growing so fast that our ability to supply them, well, it might not be able to keep up. And that could put our entire climate strategy at risk.
And here's the really wild part. Sometimes our own innovation can accidentally make the problem even worse. I mean, take solar panels, for example. Just a couple of years ago, the main technology everyone used was called PERC. But now the whole industry is switching over to this newer, much more efficient tech called TOPCon. Sounds great, right? Well, here's the catch. These new, better panels, they need 1.7 times more silver. So in our race to get more efficient, we're actually jacking up our demand for a really precious and very finite metal.
And believe me, it is not just about silver. We're looking at potential shortfalls all over the place by 2030. For indium, another key ingredient in solar panels, demand could literally be 3 times what we can supply in a year. And for those rare earth elements we need for wind turbines and EV motors, we could be short something like 23,000 tons. It just makes one thing crystal clear. We can't just build more of the same stuff. That's not going to work. We have to innovate our way out of this corner. So how do we actually solve this? Well, for starters, we have to think differently about the fuels we use. So let's dive into our first big pioneering solution, something that's starting a revolution in some of our toughest industries: green hydrogen. Okay, so what exactly is green hydrogen? The concept is actually super simple. You take water, yep, just plain old H2O, and you use renewable electricity from solar or wind to zap it. This process, called electrolysis, splits the water into hydrogen and oxygen. And that's it. The only thing that comes out is oxygen. No carbon, no emissions, just pure, clean fuel. And the scale of this coming hydrogen revolution, it is just breathtaking. Global demand is expected to absolutely explode, hitting over 151 million tons by 2034. To put that in perspective, that's a growth rate of almost 60% every single year. This isn't just some passing trend. This is a full-on paradigm shift. So what's all the excitement about? Well, it's because green hydrogen can solve problems that batteries just can't touch. Think about making steel or concrete. Those industries need massive amounts of heat, which is really hard to get from just electricity. Green hydrogen can do that. It can fuel long-haul trucks, it can store renewable energy for months, and it can even help clean up the power plants we already have. It's like a Swiss Army knife for decarbonizing the toughest parts of our economy. Okay, so hydrogen is great for our physical industries, but what about our digital world? The explosive growth of AI has created a totally new kind of energy problem, and that brings us to our second pioneering solution: geothermal power, but, supercharged for the modern era. There's a great quote from OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman, who basically said, "The future of AI is the future of energy." And he's right. The data centers that run all these new AI tools are unbelievably power hungry. Their demand is already pushing our electric grid to its limits, and they don't just need any power. They need power that's clean, totally reliable, and can be scaled up like yesterday. And that is where enhanced geothermal systems, or EGS, come into the picture.
Now, this is not your parents' geothermal, okay? EGS uses super advanced drilling tech, a lot of it borrowed directly from the oil and gas industry, to tap into the Earth's natural heat pretty much anywhere. So instead of needing to find a rare hot spring, we can now basically create our own geothermal power plants deep underground. So how does this actually work? Well, it all starts with drilling way down deep into hot rock. Then a fluid is pumped down. As it flows through all these tiny cracks in the rock, it gets super heated. That hot fluid then comes back up to the surface, and that's what we use to generate electricity. But here is the really cool part. It's a closed loop. The same fluid just gets sent back down to be heated up again and again and again. You're basically creating a permanent, clean power plant that's fueled by the Earth itself. So what makes this the absolute perfect match for the AI industry? Well, it just checks all the boxes. First, unlike solar and wind, it's on 24/7, no matter the weather. It has a really small footprint on the land. And this is a big one. It uses the equipment and the know-how we already have from the oil and gas industry. We're talking steel and concrete, not those rare minerals we're so worried about. It is the steady, reliable, clean power that the AI boom absolutely needs if it's going to be sustainable. And listen, this is not just a theory. Out in Utah, a massive 500 megawatt project called Cape Station is already being built. The first phase is actually going to be sending power to the grid in 2026. This is happening right now. It's proof that EGS is ready for the big leagues today. Now take a look at this. The red areas on this map show the best spots for geothermal power out in the American West. See a pattern? They overlap almost perfectly with where all the new data centers are being built. It is a perfect marriage of supply and demand. We could be looking at a future geothermal data center corridor. All right, so we've got this looming mineral crunch on one side and these incredible new solutions like hydrogen and geothermal on the other. So what's the big takeaway here? How do we fit all these pieces together to actually build that clean energy future we were talking about? I think the most important thing to remember is this. There's no single silver bullet. There just isn't. Solar and wind are absolutely fantastic, but they have their limits. Green hydrogen and geothermal, they're designed to solve different kinds of problems. The future isn't about picking one winner. It's about building a whole portfolio of different solutions that all work together. So the path forward really breaks down into 3 key steps. First, we've got to be real with ourselves about the physical limits of our current technology. Second, we have to pour resources and innovation into targeted solutions, like green hydrogen for industry and geothermal for data centers. And finally, we have to build that portfolio, combine everything so the strengths of one solution can make up for the weaknesses of another. You know, when you really think about it, the energy transition is this incredible high-stakes race. On one side, you have these massive challenges. The material shortages are skyrocketing demand for energy. And on the other side, you have human ingenuity, our amazing ability to invent and innovate our way out of problems. So the big question for all of us is, which side is going to win?